On Friday, I went off to the foreshore to look for Roman pottery, and some of you might have seen the video I posted of all the Roman pottery shards stretching into the distance. We found an incredible amount, and amongst them I found a few more pieces of Roman cheese mould to add to my collection. Now, I love these little bits of pottery with their little poked holes, and I've always loved to imagine the cheese that was made in them, and they've actually inspired me, and I have decided to take to the kitchen and try and make some Roman cheese. Now, the thing I love about mudlarking is that moment that you bend down and you reach back through history and you actually touch something that nobody has touched, sometimes for thousands of years. And it's that moment of reaching back through time to actually touch history. Now, I'm going to take it just a step further now, and I'm going to try and eat some history. So the recipe that I'm going to be following was recorded in AD 77 by Pliny. And it was a northern French recipe for a soft, fresh cheese. And it's highly likely that a very similar, if not the same sort of cheese was made in Britain at the time. Now, the Romans were very, very keen on cheese. They really developed the whole craft of cheese making, and they imported cheeses from all over the empire into Rome. They made hard cheeses and smoked cheeses and cheese with mould in that would be familiar today. But I'm going to make a really easy one because I really am not a domestic goddess, and so this is going to be a little bit experimental. It might work, it might not work, so I'm going to give it a go. But I'll show you how it goes, and we'll have a little taster at the end. So here we are, we're in my kitchen now, and here's my apparatus and my ingredients. So here we've got some cheesecloth that we're going to use to strain the curds and the whey. We have got some milk. Now this is unhomogenized, it is pasteurized. I would have got organic unpasteurized milk, but this is the best I could do. It's organic, it's whole milk, and it is unhomogenized, but it is pasteurized, so we'll see if that works anyway. I've got some white wine vinegar. That is going to be what I use instead of rennet. Now, Pliny and other writers at the time, they talk about using fig sap or rennet, which comes from the gut of a sheep or a kid. Now, I am going to use vinegar. They also talk about using vinegar, which was a byproduct of winemaking at the time, so it's perfectly Roman to use that. Now I'm going to salt my cheese. There's some sea salt, which was quite a valuable resource in the Roman times. And I'm going to use black pepper. The Romans imported black pepper from India. And I'm also going to use basil, which they introduced to the British Isles as well. So I'm going to flavour my soft cheese with those two. I've got a spoon, and I'm using a saucepan. Obviously the Romans would have used a clay pot. Now here are my very precious pieces of Roman cheese mould. I obviously can't use those. It wouldn't be very sanitary, and they're not big enough. But this is the one I found recently on Friday. I think it's a piece of cheese mould. It might be a colander because it's actually got much bigger holes, but this bit here is definitely a piece of Roman cheese mould. You can see the little holes that have been poked in to drain the whey. I don't have a mould like that. I'm just going to be using the cheesecloth. So let's get cooking. Don't hold your breath. Okay, so I'm using about a litre of cow's milk, whole cow's milk. You could use goat or sheep, I guess. So the Romans would have used any of those. So that's the first step. In the pan, okay, so I've put the milk on a medium heat, and I have to keep stirring it to spread the heat. I'm not using a thermometer because obviously the Romans wouldn't have had a thermometer. It's got to reach around 60 degrees, and according to what I've seen, you have to keep stirring it and keep moving it until you see a sort of smoke, a sort of smoke coming off the top and little bubbles around the edge. You mustn't boil it. It's very important not to boil it. So I'm going to just keep doing this and watching it very carefully. Okay, so I think the milk's hot enough now. I can see steam coming off the top, and I've taken it off the heat. So it's really important not to let it boil at this point. And it's a bit of guesswork really, but now that it is, now that it's hot enough, I think I can start to add the white wine vinegar, just a little bit at a time. And hopefully it'll start to curdle. So you can see it's worked. This is amazing. I've never made cheese before, so it's worked. I've got my my curds here and my whey. So I'm almost there. I've almost made some Roman cheese. Now the next stage, I've got to put it into the cheesecloth and to let it drain a bit. Okay, so I've got my cheesecloth ready in a bowl, and I'm going to pour this into my cheesecloth. Ew! Right, it's still quite hot, so and I need 2 hands now, so I'm going to have to switch off, and I'll show you what it looks like when I've done it. Okay, so here we go. Curds in the bag. The whey is dripping through. Now apparently the Romans quite enjoyed drinking the whey. It was it's supposed to taste a bit lemony, and they enjoyed drinking that. I might give it a go, but it's got vinegar in it, so I'm not sure how nice it's going to taste. Anyway, I'm going to leave this for a little while and just let it drip through, and then I'm going to stir in some salt. Now, okay, so it's cooled down a little bit now, and I'm going to add some salt. The salt was very precious in Roman times, very important as well. There was a salt making industry out on the Thames estuary, and it was no doubt imported into London up the river. And I'm also going to add some basil and just a pinch of pepper, which would have been very, very valuable. Only the richest of Romans would have had this. It was imported, brought all the way from India. It's only a tiny bit of that. And I'm going to give it a good stir. And I'm going to put it back in the cheesecloth just for a little bit longer, just to drain a little bit more, and then it should be ready. Okay, so the cheese is ready now, and we're going to give it a try. Ready, go. Okay, so we're ready to try. We're ready to try the cheese, and I've got some very non-Roman bread here. Do you want some bread?
I got this from the corner store.
Yeah, you did. Yeah. So, what do you think of the bread? Of the cheese? What do you think of the cheese?
I think it looks like a it looks like a big garlic bulb.
It does. Did you know what they are?
Oh, well, these crackers.
No, they're not. No.
I thought they were crackers.
There's a Roman pottery shard.
No, that looked like crackers.
That's what all this is about.
Okay.
You know, I've been doing this for years. It's the first time she's been on anything. Right, okay, come on.
Okay.
Dig in. Ooh.
Have they seen the picture of this?
Yeah. They've been with me all the way through.
No.
It's a bit more rubbery than I thought it would be.
funny. Yeah, it's a funny little texture.
Yeah. Okay.
Happy cheese.
Chin chin.
You know what?
Mmm.
I expected it to taste garlicky because
'Cause
that
it
looks
looks-
like a big garlic bulb, but actually,
That's really nice.
it's quite
It's like mozzarella. A bit.
yeah, it's quite subtle.
Mm. That's really nice. And it was really easy to make. It took me about 10 minutes to make. Drink some Roman wine to that.
There's quite a lot of it. You wouldn't want to eat too much of that.
Well, it saves, I think, in the fridge for about 2 to 3 days. I think that's really nice. I'd recommend that to anyone. This is Pliny's cheese.
Pliny,
Pliny
you'd have to have it with the basil though. I think the basil.
makes it nice, doesn't it? It's got pepper in it as well,
Okay.
and salt. So this is a 2,000-year-old cheese recipe. Not bad, eh?
It tastes about 1,800 years old, not 2,000.
It's actually only a couple of hours old. Yeah. Anyway, good. Well, I'll make it again. Shall I make it again? Yeah. Is it worth it? I'd say it's worth it.
Yeah, that's nice. I'd say make it again.
Yeah. Yeah. We can recommend Pliny's 2,000-year-old cheese. Now the cat's going to jump up. Go away. Cheers.